Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Peter and it has been an exciting week for Sonos and for Sonos portable music lovers. So the Sonos Move was announced a couple of days ago. I know I'm making this video a little bit later after the news embargo, but I didn't have time during the weekday. Work has been crazy. I've been having 12 meetings a day and well, it's Saturday now, so I have time to do this. Now, I'm going to cover the announcement of the Move 2. Now, to make it clear, I don't have the Move 2 with me now. The unit for review has not been shipped out yet. But I will be talking about the features and what the Sonos Move 2 brings to maybe 3 different groups of users. So I'll talk about this for 3 different groups of users. The first group are those with the Sonos Move 1 already and considering whether you should upgrade this or not, because the Move 2 is going to cost $449 US, and in Singapore it's going to cost $799, and so that is a substantial increase over the original price of the Sonos Move 1. The second group, those without a Bluetooth speaker or considering possibly other brands or new to the Sonos Move, and I'll talk a little bit about the features that I won't be covering for those in group 1. And the third group of you guys are those who have basically bought everything from Sonos already. You ran out of things to buy and wondering whether you should buy the Sonos Move 2. But that should be an easy answer. Anyway, let's get to it. Now, Sonos Move 2, right? There are a couple of improvements that are made to the Sonos Move 1 in the 4 years since it was last launched and announced in 2019. Now, this is the second product launch from Sonos in 2023, which will come in time, just in time for winter. And I'm just wondering, I mean, of course, in Singapore, it doesn't really matter. But for those of you in the Northern Hemisphere, winter is right around the corner. So Sonos is launching an outdoor product in time for winter. I don't know. Well, it's supposed to be able to work outdoors, whether is it cold or it's not cold. But, well, it just doesn't really fit. They launched the Era 100 and 300, which is an indoor product in time for summer, half a year ago. Anyway, sorry, I was blabbering. Let me carry on. There are 12 things I want to mention, right? 12 things that the Sonos Move 2 brings on top of the Sonos Move 1. First, stereo. So there has been an internal rearrangement of the drivers. Now there are 3 drivers instead of the original 2 drivers. Thanks to Alexis.x for pointing that out. The original Move 1 had the tweeter actually facing downward into a waveguide that will move and spread the sound across the room, right? So there was one tweeter facing downwards, not firing forward. So in the new arrangement, the stereo imaging from one single Sonos Move 2 without having to pair a pair of the Sonos Move 2 together is actually having the drivers left and right, the tweeters firing off at an angle, so you'll get better stereo imaging. In fact, you will get stereo imaging. The original Move 1 was a mono speaker. It's a sum mono. Basically, place the left and right channel together out through one channel. So this is a huge improvement, and probably the reason why you're going to be willing to pay $50 extra for the Sonos Move 2 over the Sonos Move 1. And because of the 3 drivers, now you have 2 tweeters and 1 bass driver, you're going to need 1 more amp. So that's the second thing, right? You have 1 more amp for the second tweeter. So total of 3 amplifiers. Now, battery life. So the battery itself is still interchangeable, although only by Sonos. It's not user replaceable. It is, you can send it back in and they can replace the battery even after 3-4 years for a relatively reasonable price. I believe it's like $69 or $79. I can't remember. But basically it will extend the shelf life of your product. And Sonos products do last quite a long time. Batteries, the technology today, it won't last a long time, but because this is portable, because you will likely use it every day, if you spend money on this, it's probably going to last a couple of years, right? Granted, the battery life now is going to last 24 hours. That's 24 hours of playing time on a single speaker. It's a huge improvement from the original Sonos Move 1, which is at 11 hours, right? Sonos Move 1 actually launched at 10 hours. Then they did a software update and bumped it up to 11 hours. So it is already 2.4 times better than the Sonos Move 1 at launch, and still more than twice as good as the Sonos Move 1 after the enhancements were made. Now, from the battery of the Sonos Move, you can actually charge other devices. So previously in the Sonos Move 1, there was a USB-C port, but the USB-C port was not able to charge other devices. It was meant to receive charging only. But this Move 2, using the USB-C port, you can use it to power your phone or power anything else that you want to. Basically, your Move 2 has become a charger. So think of it as a very expensive charger that happens to play music as well. Then the fifth thing, right now, the touch volume slider. So this is a big thing. On the Era 100 and on the Era 300, they introduced a new control scheme, right? So basically, you are able to control the volume by just sliding on top of the speaker now, right? And there's an indentation at the top where you run your finger across to increase or reduce volume. Now that is much better than having to press and tap on the previous control. And being a Bluetooth speaker, this Bluetooth now is at 5.0. So Bluetooth 5.0 as opposed to the previous, I think it was 4.0 or 4.2 version of the Sonos Move 1. Now, previously on the Move 1, if you were playing via Bluetooth, you were not able to then move the sound from the Move to the rest of your Sonos system. But right now, like the Sonos Roam, you are able to continue playing whatever is playing on Bluetooth to the rest of your Sonos system. So it acts like a Bluetooth gateway. So this is a big quality of life improvement over the Move 1, which the Sonos Roam already was capable of doing for the last 1.5, 2 years. And there's one function I believe, okay, I haven't tested it because it's not here yet, but if it works the same as the Era 100 or the Era 300, even in Bluetooth pairing mode, you are able to pair a pair of Sonos Moves together, because the Era 100, I've set them up as a stereo pair before using Bluetooth from a projector, and it was able to pair. The original Move 1 could not do that. And speaking of wireless connectivity, there's Wi-Fi, right? So the Move 2, like the Era 100 and Era 300, is now Wi-Fi 6 capable. Wi-Fi 6, how many speakers out there is on Wi-Fi 6? Wi-Fi 6 is a new standard, low latency, high speed. Not that we need a lot of speed because we don't use a lot of bandwidth using audio, but the latency is going to be great coming from Wi-Fi 6. Sonos has actually mentioned that the speaker size is going to look, is going to be exactly the same, but it is actually not the same. It is just a tad bigger than the original Move 1. I believe it is 1 mm taller and 1 mm deeper. So they didn't get lazy and basically take the whole mold from the original Move 1 and move it to the Move 2. Move and move and move. There's a slight dimension change, but the weight is exactly the same. Then again, they said the same about the Sub Gen 2 and the Sub Gen 3, where the weight is supposed to be the same, but actually the Sub Gen 3 came in at about 2 or 3 kilograms lighter. Right? Oh, I mentioned the USB-C. So that's the USB-C. The USB-C port, instead of just acting as a charging in port, I mentioned it was able to charge out, but now it is also a data port, and you can use the Sonos dongle that will allow it to accept a line-in. So your Sonos Move 2 is now capable of accepting line-in from computer, from projector, from anything. Basically, it becomes an analog in speaker. And if you don't want to charge the Move 2 using a USB-C cable, you can actually use a wireless dock. The previous wireless dock didn't have a removable cable, right? And this one is slightly smaller, slightly slimmer. It's just what I'm seeing from pictures. I haven't actually seen it in person, but the wireless dock will now have a removable USB-C cable. So if the cable spoils, you can actually swap it out very easily. I'm sure we have plenty of USB-C cables lying around the house. Okay, and that's the second last thing. All right, probably a little bit superficial because it is superficial. Color. Sonos has introduced a new color, and that is the olive green color. I kind of like this color scheme. I would have preferred it a little bit richer and a little bit deeper shade of green, like the British racing green. But olive is okay. Olive is great. It's kind of muted. Well, it's actually more exciting than white and black, right? So that's one new color. But for the original Sonos Move 1, they actually called it Lunar White and Shadow Black. So it wasn't exactly white and it wasn't exactly black. In the new Sonos Move 2, from the pictures I'm looking at, it does look like a pure black and a pure white, like the Era 100 and the Era 300. So it's no longer like a shadowy black where it's kind of grayish and it looks old, and it's no longer lunar white where it looks yellowish and, from the sun UV kind of thing. So it does look a little bit fresher. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention when it comes to the aesthetics and how it looks of it is that I'm not sure if they actually still rounded off the edges, the lip of the top of the Sonos Move 2, because in the previous one it's slightly rounded. I guess it makes for a little bit more comfortable carrying around, and if you had the sharp edges like the beam or the arc at the sides or the Era 100, Era 300, then you knock it around, it's gonna chip and dent very easily and it's gonna show up. So the Move 2, hopefully it is still rounded slightly so that it doesn't scuff as easily. So these are the 12 things that I've listed right here that will make the Sonos Move distinct and different and feel like an upgrade that is worth $50 for those Move 1 users out there. So pick anything from this list, or spread the $50 across this list, and for $4 for each feature, maybe it is worth an upgrade. But that is assuming you have a Sonos Move 1. So for those of you, the group 2, who don't actually have the Move 1 or are considering a Bluetooth speaker anyway, which one are you going to buy, right? I will talk a little bit about that. Maybe you're not very sure, not very familiar with the Sonos Move 1, which I didn't cover in the previous section, is that it is a Bluetooth speaker. And it is IP56 waterproof and dust proof, right? 56 is not 67 or it's not 7XIPX7. Anyway, splash proof, all right? You can't dump it in water, and it's not able to sustain exposure, constant exposure to fine dust, all right? But a little bit of sand at the beach, a little bit of splashes from the side of the pool, it is still fine. You're not going to be using it as in the pool, not there. By the pool, okay, right? You are able to do stereo pairing, but like I said, the Move 1 could only do stereo pairing in Wi-Fi mode, not in Bluetooth mode. The new Move 2, unconfirmed at this point, but it should work, is that it should be able to stereo pair even in Bluetooth mode. Now there's also Auto True Play, where the Move 2 or the Move 1 will actually tune and calibrate its sound according to its surrounding every time it's moved. So when it's moved to a new position, it will use its onboard mic. Yes, it has onboard mic, and it will be able to listen to the sounds that it's playing and see whether it is suitable for the room and tune the sound accordingly. So talking about the mic is also used for Smart Assistant. So you are able to get Smart Assistant, including Alexa, as well as the Sonos Voice Assistant. Or is it Sonos Voice Control, right? Because the Sonos Assistant is not really smart. It can tell the time, but not the date, apparently. Or is it the other way around? Anyway, they have taken away Google Assistant, so you won't be able to get Google Assistant on the Move 2, something that you need to know. The battery is also replaceable on both the Move 1 and the Move 2. So for the Group 2 users out there considering a Bluetooth speaker, why? What else about the Move 2 should you consider, right? A couple of things. You cannot pair a subwoofer to it. So if you are thinking that the Sonos ecosystem is great, it's got subwoofers, it's got a smaller subwoofer, it's got a big subwoofer, you've got many of the soundbars that you can use. The Move, all right, or the Roam even, and either it's the Move 1 or the Move 2, you won't be able to pair a subwoofer with it, and you cannot be used as surrounds. So that is something that you have to take note of, regardless of whether it is the Move 1 or the Move 2. Now, maybe you'll be asking then, why buy Sonos? So a couple of things, right? Sonos, they do last forever. I have a pair of Play 3s which refuse to die, and I've been trying to get them to die so that I can justify buying something else, but never mind that. They've lasted a long time, and I didn't buy both together, but one of them is like 13 years old at this point in time, and it is still working on the Sonos S2 platform, right? And they sound great, right? Okay, how great does it sound? Well, at this point in time, I haven't gotten the Move 2. Based on my experience with Move 1, the sound is strong, it's loud, it's powerful. Move 2, how it sounds? Well, I do frequency response sweeps and I measure the speakers carefully whenever I do a review. So if you're interested in that kind of things, do stay subscribed to this channel, leave a like on this video, make a comment if you are interested in this, and watch out for that video. It should come within the next couple of weeks when I get it, the review unit at least, right? And Sonos has a pretty long shelf life, right? Because they don't refresh their product every year, unlike brands like JBL or, because JBL comes out with the charge 1, charge 2, charge 3, charge 4, and the flip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 every year. Right? And you are always compelled to have to buy it. All right. And the moment they come out with the 6, the 5 goes on sale and the value drops, which then leads to a drop in resale value, not being able to retain the resale value. Sonos products, they retain the resale value pretty well because they don't update it that often. And they don't need to update it that often because every time a new product is launched from Sonos, they actually try to make sure that it works well, right? And the software is great. The S2 platform is great. It's easy to use. I could nitpick here and there, but the same goes for any other software from any other company. It's just that I believe that the Sonos engineers are actually hard at work trying to make the software great. So the software gets monthly software updates, which in general is a good thing, but maybe once a year they'll muck it up and then the sound goes haywire. I hope it doesn't happen for 2023, but the last time it happened, I wasn't very happy about it. So please just watch that. Make sure that we still enjoy our product when we spend money on the Sonos. But on that count, Sonos do actually work on the software updates for a very long time. Okay, so I wanted to touch about the group 3. The group 3 of you who have so many Sonos stuff and you're just running out of things to buy, you don't know what to buy already. Okay, new stuff from Sonos, the Move 2. Should we buy it? You already know the answer. Why are you watching this video? You don't need me to endorse, you don't need me to say anything. But if you want to have somebody to blame for making that decision, or maybe you want to show your wife or your significant other that, hey, because Peter said buy it, so Peter said it's good, and therefore you're buying it, sure, my fault. Go ahead and buy the Sonos Move 2. Get it in olive green. Well, because color is important to some others. Okay, let's talk about availability. Availability is actually on the 24th of September for most markets, for US markets, I believe. But for those of you who are in Singapore, like I'm in Singapore, this time round, we're going to get it only on 6th of October, which is a bummer, right? Because I want to test this. I want to have some fun with it. And we don't really have winter here, so it's fine. I have November, I have December, and I can use it outdoors. So my friends in US, my friends in the Northern Hemisphere, no pity for me, please. Thank you. Okay, one last important point before I break for the video and before I go back to living my Saturday life. You cannot pair a Move 1 and a Move 2. So for those of you who have a Move 1 and currently contemplating whether you want to buy a Move 2, and you go down to the comment section and you ask, hey Peter, can you pair a Move 2 with a Move 1? The answer is no. So if you ask that question, then I know you didn't watch the video to the end. So for those of you who have watched the video all the way to the end, stuck with me at this point, type in good move Peter in the comment section down below so I know I can thank you, and thanks for joining me for the whole video talking about the Sonos Move 2. So I will see you with my Move 2 in the next video. See you.